How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Sup Homeslice. You can see the Homeslice hat on right there representing. Got it going on today with us. Going to be looking down at some breakdowns. Before we do that, glad to have Evan here with us today. How you doing, my man?
What's going on, Iggy? I am good, man. Got a little bit of a different setup. We got a couple flat tires going on, waiting on AAA to show up. So we got a different location, got a laptop fired up, and we're going to knock this bad boy out. So if I disappear, AAA showed up.
What's the over-under on them showing up in our 30-minute show here?
Oh, man.
Straight negative 110, negative 110 prop.
Yeah, from 11:40, it was 30 to 45 minutes. So it's 12 o'clock now. So, I mean, that means that they should be here about 12:20, 12:25. So, I mean, if you take the over, you do got, only a few minutes if we're out of here by 12:30. So, I mean, plus money that they show up after 12:30, I would imagine.
We'll see. They're going to show up and they're going to be like,
see that? That's your IQ, buddy. Zero.
So just watch out for nails out there, everybody, and bust a glass in the parking lot. So let's just go ahead and get right down to it today. Thank you for joining us. This is the Sports Affiliation show, Sup Homeslice. We're focused on betting. We're focused on fantasy. We'll incorporate a little bit of both today. Of course, we're going to bring you, as always, the Pizza Parlay. You know what I'm saying, 3 at least. We'll tell you a little bit about pizza. I just bought frozen pizza, so we're not a pizza snobs over here, I don't think. But we'll talk about some of the ingredients. We'll break it down. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at the AFC. We're going to look at win-loss totals. I'm pulling the stats up right now for us, Evan. Let's just go ahead and hop right into it. This is obviously off of thelines.com, if you're unfamiliar with that. They kind of put all the lines up for you. There's all kinds of other, apps and other agencies that do this for you. This one's free for me, so I use it a lot. And then they don't have it alphabetically for us, so we're just going to go through AFC teams, starting at the top, Evan. And what I like about this is you can see the difference in the odds, So Chiefs right here, pretty standard 11.5. You go over to DraftKings, they got them at 13.5. What the heck is going on? Negative 360 on that 13.5. A lot of, the odds are close. You get higher odds on the under 11.5. Negative 104, plus 100, plus 101, plus 100. What do you think about the Chiefs, man?
I mean, it's crazy, too, because if you look around at, projected win totals at all with certain things, right, whether you look at maybe PFF or whatever website you want to use, there's, not one team that's projected to win more than 11 games, right? And it's I don't know how you come up with that when there's 12, 13-game winners every single season, right? So it's if that was the logic, I mean, you'd have to go under with the Chiefs. But, I mean, everybody expects this Chiefs offense to be much better than they were, right? I mean –
yes.
We don't know what's going on with Rashee Rice. Obviously, they drafted Xavier Worthy, who's got the hype. You expect Kelsey to be Kelsey. Still had a really good season. And Isaiah Pacheco, man, right? Offensively, this team should go, right? They should be better. They should score more touchdowns. I think defensively, they've dropped off a little bit. But, you look at the division. What's going on, Daniel? Thanks for joining us, brother. I think the Chargers will be a better team. I'm not sure if the Raiders' second half, better football is going to continue. Was that just Antonio Pierce, right? What was that? And the Broncos, we know, are probably not going to be very good. So this isn't the AFC North. I mean, they should still be able to have some success, go 4-2 in the division, win some games on the road. Arrowhead is a tough place to play. I mean, whether I fully play this or not, I got to lean the over on the team that continues to show up and just win Super Bowl or show up in the Super Bowl. I'm going to take over and take the 12 wins, Iggy.
So over, if you think they get over 11.5, best odds I see are negative 118. Over on FanDuel, I think they win 12 games. Like you said, I think the Chargers are going to be in a state of flux. I'm not sure when the Chiefs play the Chargers, but if they play them in the first month or 5 or 6 weeks, I think they got a major advantage just because they got they're learning new defense over there and a new offense in Los Angeles. Poor Justin Herbert, man. It's his third offensive coordinator already. But yeah, Denver's going to suck. Raiders are going to suck. That's just the bottom line. So I don't see how they don't get 11.5. Just my opinion on it. I would take the over on that. Let's go ahead and go to the Bills right here, man. So pretty interesting. 10.5. Seems like DraftKings has a different line set. Seems like they're really trying to bait you into a plus money over on a lot of these guys. But 10.5 is what I'm seeing right there, Evan. Let me pull the screen back up for everybody else. Sorry, I didn't realize I didn't have that. Right there, you can see the Bills right at the top of the screen. It's at 10.5, pretty much the best odds. -150 on the on the under, and then plus 125, plus 130 over here at Caesars Sportsbook on over 10.5. The AFC East is it's kind of a joke to me right now. The Bills, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Patriots. I don't think any one of them are like that great, but I think the Bills just don't have a defense, dude. From a fantasy perspective, I'm loving. I'm liking Shakir, man. I think he's undervalued. I think he's going to get a lot of targets, particularly in a PPR league. Dawson Knox is pretty interesting to me too. People forgot about him, but they're going to have to outscore people, man, because they have no edge pressure unless you think Von Miller's just going to somehow revert back to who he was 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. Espinoza, I don't know. I do think just because of their division, once again, I think they get over 10.5 wins, dude, and plus 130, like I said, on Caesars. Is there anything you think I'm forgetting about the Bills? Do you think they got it or not?
I mean, I kind of agree with everything you said, but with what you said, man, I think 10 – I don't know if this team can win more than 10 games, man. They won 11 games last year. The team was better. I mean, the defense has gotten worse, like you said. And offensively, I'm not a huge Shakir guy. I know they brought in Keon Coleman. I think that, listen, I know that Stephon Diggs did not produce statistically, but defenses still had to account for a number one wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. Now that offense doesn't have that. Does that open things up for James Cook the same way? Does it open things up for Dalton Kincaid? I think both those guys are great picks. I like where they're going in fantasy. I got no issue with banking on those guys having successful seasons. But can they score at the end when they need to, when they got to get down and make a drive without having him there, right? I think that's going to be a little more noticeable. You got that defense there that may lose a couple games too. I agree that the division, right, Patriots, not very good, right? I think the defense will be better, but offensively there's nothing there. Jets are banking on Rodgers to be the MVP, right, at 40 years old off an Achilles. But they still probably lose a couple games in there, and the Dolphins offensively can go toe-to-toe with this team, right? So I think 10-7 is a successful season, and I think if they have some problems offensively and the defensive one we talked about, this could be a season where they find themselves actually only winning like 8 games. I don't know if they go that far, but I think 10-7 would be a successful season. I think they go under, man.
Under. Okay, let's take a look at 2 more 10.5 teams. Got the Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens, both AFC North teams, both at 10.5. The best odds I can find on Bengals going over is -134. So people have a lot of faith in Joe Burrow, a lot of faith in Zach Taylor and that offense. With the Ravens, the best one is the under. Plus 115 is the best I can see, and then -115 is the best I see on the over. I'm really high on Baltimore again this year. I think this is the year that Lamar goes over 4,000 passing yards. I said it on our last show. I think Derrick Henry helps him out immensely, and I think it helps his passing game. The AFC North is always tough, though. We could have 3 more teams go to the playoffs from the AFC North. We could have almost 4 teams from the AFC North go to the playoffs again. So just looking at it, I'm probably staying away from Cincinnati. Baltimore, I'm feeling over 10.5 wins, but it's not like my most confident bet. Anything you want to say on those 2 teams in the AFC North? Did I lose you?
Nope, I'm here. Sorry, AAA is going to be pulling up any minute here. So there you go. I don't know what bet you took there, but we would have lost if we went for the plus money. But, like you were saying about the Bengals, man, I mean, Joe Burrow, Pete, it's great that Joe Burrow's back. I think this team will do fine. I mean, obviously he should be healthy and ready to go. But again, winning 11 games is tough to do, right? And in that division, we mentioned how the West wasn't very good. Well, this is probably the best division in football, right? You have the Steelers, the Browns, the Bengals, and the Ravens, all teams that won. Well, I think they all won 10 games last season, if I'm not mistaken, right? The Steelers even found a way to win 10. So I think they're going to beat up on each other as well. I mean, we've seen what this team can be, but even when they were good with that squad, it's not like they went 13-4, or they weren't dominant like that. They just they got hot. They were a playoff team, and in the playoffs, they were tough, right? And they just couldn't get over the hump. So I don't know, man. 11 wins is a lot. This one's tough for me. I might chase the plus money on this one. I could see them going 11-6, but I might go a little smaller unit size and give myself the plus money on the under here.
Okay. Let's go to the Jets and just kind of brush on them real quick. I think this is probably one of my favorite odds. I thought I saw them at 7.5 and I was going to take it. A lot of people have faith in Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people have faith in Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. The trifecta's there. And Robert Saleh is supposed to be this defensive whisperer. They don't have Hassan Reddick coming to town. 9.5, man. I think this is probably one of my favorite plus monies at plus 132. Quickly, anything you'd like to say about the Jets? Do you think there's any way they win 10 games?
I think 10 wins is going to be hard, man. I know this defense is good. And, I mean, I don't know. I look at Aaron Rodgers, who prior to the injury, he wasn't that great in Green Bay that final season. And don't get me wrong, this is a Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the most talented guys we've ever seen. But that last season, right, that last game against Detroit that they couldn't get it done that entire year, he wasn't exactly the same Aaron Rodgers we had seen. We saw some of the same throws. We saw some of the magic. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's going to be there. But to expect him to be better than that after that season and an Achilles tear and a whole year off, I don't know, man. And outside of Garrett Wilson on the outside, yeah, Breece is there. But Tyler Conklin's a solid pro. You got Mike Williams, who we don't even know if he'll be healthy for the regular season. They drafted Corley. They've got Gibson. There's not that much there. And I'm excited for Wilson. He was good without a quarterback, right? But I think asking this team to win 10 games, I like it too. I think 9-8 is what this Jets team probably goes, based off where I think Rodgers is. I think that this is a team that the media's given. This is Aaron Rodgers, but it's not the same Aaron Rodgers. And if he proves me wrong, so be it. But I'll take the plus money and go under.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I don't really have much more to say about that. I do think Conklin's a steal at tight end, keep it with the fantasy theme. We're kind of looking at deep sleepers, not the obvious guys that people are taking, in the top 10, 11 picks. And
Aaron Rodgers made Robert Tonyan.
Robert Tonyan, he made Jermichael Finley. I mean, he's made some tight ends that really – And
Conklin has been solid. I mean, you can argue Conklin is better than those tight ends as a football player. Conklin is, I think, above
he had great tight end yards last year. He had zero touchdowns. So if he can muster up 4 touchdowns this year at the price he's at, I love it, man. And just give me a cue if you need to leave out. Like I said, we do appreciate everybody being here. We're getting a lot of viewers in today. Do not be scared to just put in those comments. I got my X going up right now. It's a little hard for me to look at both while we're going, but get the comments in. We'll get it up there on the screen, man. We're going to bring down the Pizza Parlay pretty quick. Real quick, I just want to give a word to our sponsors real quick, and that is, of course, the Drafters. They'll put in code TSA BETS, and you get up to $100 match. JC and Pete drafted last night. I feel like they're doing it almost every night. Hop on it, $2 best balls. It's way better than doing a mock draft, in my opinion, because you get people playing with real money and you get real people, not computers. So here's a quick commercial about that.
Here we go.
Like I said, make sure you go check that out. TSA Bet at Drafters. Put in that code when you sign up. $100 match, man. You're talking 100 best ball $2 drafts, man. How do you not want to do that? Hop in there, make sure we got to do that. And right now, let's see. We got me onto the show real quick. Just keeping it rolling. Looking at the Dolphins, 9-5. They're going to be pretty bad this year, I think. They're going to be heavily relying on their offense. I think Vic Fangio going hurts them. Phillips is hurt. Bradley Chubb is hurt. Where are they going to get this pressure, son? They just lost Christian Wilkins, maybe their best defensive lineman. The secondary is aging out. There's a lot of problems over there with that Dolphins defense. Can that offense just carry them through? Can Tua stay healthy? I think 10 wins is about right. I was going to ask Evan, he had to step away, but will 10 wins win the AFC East? That's what will the Dolphins or the Bills get 10 wins, which is basically what this is saying, and win the AFC East? I'm tilting more toward the Bills. Maybe he'll come back and comment on how he feels about it. If you feel like the Dolphins can go out there and get a bunch of wins, plus 220 and 11.5, not bad from DraftKings. Let's switch it over to the AFC South real quick. The Texans at 9.5. I find that very interesting. They won a lot of close games last year, but I believe in D'Amico Ryans. They added Danielle Hunter over there. They got Aziz Al-Shahir over there that they added from Tennessee. They got Will Anderson. They have a very good good nucleus on that defense with D'Amico Ryans. So CJ Stroud won't have to do it all, but then he's got arguably the best wide receiver core in the NFL. I'm leaning towards the over on 9.5. It's hard to find great money, -130 on that. So for a season-long bet, remember, they got to – I think most of these cash out after the full season. It's going to take most of the season to get to 10 wins anyway. But if you feel like there's an under plus 122s there, and for some reason you think that was a fluke, take a look at that. 12 wins. AFC South is kind of a lot of flux to me. I don't really know that the Texans are just going to come through and dominate it. But then again, I don't know who could really stop them. So that's kind of interesting. Steelers, 8.5. Mike Tomlin never had a losing record ever. And it's at plus money for him to continue that streak. 9 wins. You can't get the 8-8 tie split like you used to. Looking at it, you're going to need 9 wins. It's pretty even on that 9, though, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be much better. Their defense was great. Their defense has been great. They just haven't had that crucial piece called the quarterback to help them in the past 3 or 4 years. No disrespect to any of the quarterbacks they had. Russell Wilson's going to be an upgrade to that. He's going to play in his system. Hopefully they can get him to check it down, let some of his playmakers do the work. He's got, 2 stud running backs, a good tight end, young wide receiver that people are happy about, and then, of course, Pickens, who he's a real deal. I think I'm going to take the over on this one at 8.5. Nothing not to like there. You know what I'm saying? At plus, 135 is the highest I can find. I don't think they're going to get 13 wins, but I believe in Mike Tomlin. He's the longest tenured coach in the NFL by a long time now, with Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll both being gone. I think he's probably got 10 years on Andy Reid, who's probably the next longest tenured coach. That's saying something. The Steelers have only had 3 coaches their entire existence. So look for Mike Tomlin to get those 9 wins, guys. Chargers, man, we really need Evan in here to talk about this one. Why don't I skip over the Chargers right now? Get to the comments real quick. JC saying if Miami can stay healthy, I'm taking Miami in that division. It has to be them or the Bills, right? It just has to. Conklin was solid in Minnesota. Yeah, he was. I remember him being good. And I don't know, he did great without Aaron Rodgers last year. I think he can be sneakily good, especially if they start putting double coverage on Garrett Wilson. I think you got a great point there. What's up, Jerry? Thanks for hopping in, man. Russ already dealing with calf strains. He's getting old, but, this training camp news, we got to be taking that with a grain of salt. Be careful with that. I think that's, he could be a little sore. I mean, we would all be sore if we went running around and throwing and, we didn't do much this summer, but get acquainted to our new city. JC says, Jerry, Daniel. I think the 9 wins are there. Justin Fields isn't a terrible backup, in my opinion. He's probably one of the better backups in the league, I think. Just get the comments in, guys. We'll get them in down there for you. We're going to skip the Chargers from now. Maybe we can come back and talk about them. Cleveland Browns, 8.5. No respect, I tell you. No respect after they lost Joe Flacco. Can Deshaun Watson play an entire season? That's what this comes down to. I'm just staying away from this altogether because they're just too unpredictable. I did the same thing last year. Outside of Amari Cooper, I don't know what we're going to get there, I do want to say real quick, when we talk about the Steelers, I do like Najee Harris. He's slipping back in drafts. I think he's gotten 1,000 yards every year. People forget he was hurt last year. Mike Tomlin's still the head coach. There's a lot of things to like about that. So Cleveland Browns, like I said, not much to say. I'm staying away from them as a whole because I need to know what's up with Deshaun Watson before I do that. Jacksonville Jaguars at 8.5 wins. Can they come back and win it? They almost gave Kansas City a run for their money in the playoffs 2 years. People forgot about that. Trevor Lawrence played through a lot of injuries. The defense, had no secondary help last year. 8.5, it's pretty much even, -115 for a season-long bet. But I just feel like Jacksonville does that. I don't feel like there's any reason for them not to do that. I know we probably have some Jacksonville and AFC South people in here. Please leave those comments in there. We'll get them up for you guys, okay? And then looking real quick, if we're going to take it on the Colts at 8.5 as well. So you got 8.5, 8.5. The Texans were at 9.5 for this division. We'll get to Tennessee pretty quick. It's another team. How healthy can Anthony Richardson stay? They got Joe Flacco back there. Maybe he could help them to the playoffs like he did Cleveland. But it's a total different ballgame with Joe Flacco, and I don't know that Pittman is, he's not the equivalent of Amari Cooper. Sorry. And they don't have a David Njoku over there with Woods or whoever they're going to be rolling out at tight end for the Colts. So It is totally dependent on Anthony Richardson. I think that's about right. I think they're 8-9, maybe 10-win team, depending on how a couple games bounce. Another team I'm pretty much staying away from. A couple NFC teams, Tampa Bay, Seattle Saints, Vikings, Cardinals. We will be back with those teams later. Looking at the Raiders, man. Sorry, Raiders, 6.5. I mean, I don't know. I think they win 6 games. I got them 6-11 on the season. So, under plus 120, you're not getting great odds. 7 wins, -138, -145, -137. Let's say they beat San Diego once, they beat Denver once. They got to get 5 games somewhere else. That's going to be tough. That's a tough sell, man. The Raiders, I love them from an IDP standpoint, fantasy-wise. Offensively, I don't know who I don't have Bowers. I don't have a whole lot of Devontae. I don't have a whole bunch of the backfield. I think I got more Madison than I do White, honestly. So it's just a team to kind of just watch. And, that's been a dysfunctional franchise for about 20 years. So, we'll have to see if they can get some footing. I'm staying away from that. Titans at 6.5. Plus odds 1-2-3. Under odds plus 128. I think Will Levis has an incredible core of wide receivers around him. DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, Trey Burks, Chikawaza, who messed it up, butchered it, tight end. Pollard's a pretty decent catching back out of the backfield. So you got both of those going on. And I think there's potential for them to sneak away. Maybe if they can win 3 games in the AFC South, they can split their division. I think they can get 4 wins outside of it. We'll see. That defense is being revamped. New head coach. Sometimes that's hard. Maybe we stay away from the Tennessee Titans. That's a tough one to do right there. What's up, Sleeves? What's up, guys? Broncos, man, one of the second lowest totals out there. 5.5. Lord have mercy. I mean, Sean Payton's a good coach. Okay. Say what you want. Sean Payton is a good coach. They got a good backfield. Watch out for Jaleel McLaughlin. He's going to go off on that backfield. Sean Payton loves him. Everybody here in Colorado knows. Secret. It's not a secret anymore. No more Javonte Williams. Samaje P. Ryan might be a special teamer. Excuse me. You want Jaleel. That's the guy you want. You can still get him way late, probably like RB 30, 28, 32. I don't have the ADP in front of me. But take a look at that. I just don't know how the Broncos, let's say, like I said, they split with – didn't Russell Wilson beat Patrick Mahomes too? I got to go back and look at that. But they split with Chargers and the Raiders. There's 2 wins. Can they get 4 more with the rookie quarterback and not a great defensive line? Their defensive line's all right. You know what? I think the over might be in play. 6 games plus 105. I don't mind it. Poor Patriots, 4-5. How far the dynasty has fell. I mean, truth is they're going to have to pay for that dynasty, man. They're mortgaged out. They're going to have to pay Matt Judon. They're going to have to go through a pretty big transition phase. And a sports fan team that doesn't like losing. Patriots are not used to losing, despite it not being so great. I don't know if the Patriots don't win but 4 games this year. Look out. 3.5 on some of these alternate lines. That 3 wins, that is 3-14. That would be demoralizing. Yeah, I think they could get 5 wins, dude. The AFC East is garbage. If they win 3 games in their division, they just got to win 2 out of it. So let's say they win, 2 home division games, 1 road one. That means they should still, in theory, have about, 5, maybe 6 more home games. Just win 2 of those. Not a lot of money on there, over 4.5. But I think they get 5 wins. All right, and that's kind of breaking it down, like you said. No team from the top, 11.5. The highest win total this year, 13.5 for some sites, including San Francisco, the Chiefs at the draft books. Yeah, you can see DraftKings is just tempting you to take that over and completely diminishing the undervalue. Probably a smart move on their part. They know what they're doing. No return, asking you to say which team's going to win 13, 14 games. Just like Evan said, one of them's going to win it. That's what it comes down to. So let's put a couple of these totals together. Let's see if we can get the odds. So one off, I guess let's go back to the Chargers real quick. 8.5. I love the coach. I love the quarterback. There's some defensive studs over there, but asking all that to come together and win 9 games in the AFC, I just don't see it. I don't think the Chargers got it in them. I would probably lean on the under. Missing the playoffs, Harbaugh's first year. It's not really too unrealistic to expect that, right? So let's take a look on some of these that we felt good about. We'll build it through one book, so hopefully it'll show us the odds. Like I said, the Ravens 10.5. Try to go with some of these ones that Evan wasn't in that maybe we saw differently. Titans 6.5. Let's see. Let's build it on this book. 122. Oh, taking me out. Well, I mean, if we're going to build the parlay, because I don't have any of the baseball bets in front of me, but, I don't even really feel like I want to give that advice for the pizza parlay. But what we can do real quick is just go with the 3 build here on the teams we think we like. I honestly think in the AFC, I don't think they win 7 games. I don't think the Raiders win 7 games. So therefore, I think the Broncos. I'm staying away from the Broncos. Raiders under 6.5. We'll take that. We'll take Steelers over 8.5. I believe in the Steelers. And then, we can't build the odds right here. Sorry, guys. So Steelers over 8.5. Jets under 9.5 all day. And then we'll go back with what we were feeling. We'll go Titans over 6.5. I think they got 7 wins in them. All right. So Titans over 7.5. Jets under 9.5. And then Steelers over 8.5. Just keep Mike Tomlin to doing his thing, baby. That would probably come in a bet about 800 plus 800. You can put a little unit on that. You know what I'm saying? Nothing too bad. Let's see. 6 of 10 has hit the over on the Raiders bet in the last 10. 4 and 5 in the last 5 years. Yeah, I mean, they get sneaky wins in that AFC South. We left them off, right? We left them off. We went Titans. So just to recap for the pizza parlay, got the pizza slice. We went Titans over 6.5, Jets under 9.5, Pittsburgh over 8.5. Okay, I think those are all doable. I think coaching, I think divisions, I think those all help out in those factors. I do think Baltimore. I think they're going to be the best team in the AFC. I think they're going to get the #1 seed. So if you wanted to take them on the over as well, I'm about that life. No worries there. Yeah, man. Hey, I guess, with Evan being gone, I just want to say I appreciate you coming out. Remember to go check out our Discord, Sports Affiliation Discord. Go over there. It's free to join. We got free chat. We got Evan dropping bets of the day. I'll be dropping some more bets once we get closer to the Olympics, football season, etc. Pete, Will, always both active in there. We had last night's show with Carla, and it's going to be our new host, Hope, the Game Changer. So make sure you go check that out as well. We had Rachel on talking about losing pickles. That's a pretty funny story. And then, always, the website, we're getting it ramped up. Anthony's got his articles, How to Win Your Fantasy Football League. Anthony was a league winner in Fantasy Football Sevens last year. He placed well. I've seen him compete in 2 leagues, make the playoffs in both those leagues. You don't really turn down advice like that from somebody that's been doing something for 35 years. So go check that out at the website. We got Fantasy Football Sevens being drafted right now. Most of the leagues are wrapping up. Once that's done, we'll get the BS breaker loaded on the website as well. And go see how some of your favorite analysts are doing in that. Yeah, dude, we're going to be at the expo, so make sure you come by and see our booth. We got stickers. We're going to have games. JC and I will be over there, parked there, and we'll be talking bets. We'll be talking fantasy football, and it'll be a lot of fun. So if you're not going to the expo, get your ticket. You still got time. And as always, make sure you're following us at the Sports Affiliation. Word character account wouldn't let us do it on X, but it's just the Sports Affiliation. You can always find a bunch of information there. We're getting really good about putting all our most current information out on the website as well. We're also on Twitter, or we're also on Facebook. We're getting our TikTok ramped up. So basically all forms of social media, just come check us out. All right. I do appreciate you being with us today. As always, we'll be back next week, episode 7. We will have a guest next week. We'll be breaking down first of the month, try to get the game show going, get that going back up every first Thursday. So hopefully we have a couple good guests, bring you on, have fun. We may make it like an IDP thing even. We'll see. All right, guys. Until next time, that's smart. Be lucky.